The issue is the issues of recidivism, and we're talking to Pastor Walker about some of the issues that are generally associated with recidivism, especially supervision and the parole system. And of course, Reverend Walker, we promised that we'd give you an opportunity to continue to talk about the issue of supervision and the parole system. Let's do that now.
Well, Dr. Haney, what I'm saying in no uncertain term is that the Tennessee Department of Probation and Parole is contributing to the recidivism rate as well as the individual, the offenders themselves. I mean, because if you got a structured program like the Hands of God Recovery Ministries that's designed and structured, and then you're writing to that program and you're telling them, we're going to take you off of our approved list because you have a structure, because you're helping these people, because you're helping them get their idea, you're helping them get their lives together, but because you got this fine system in place, you know, then you're not helping the people. It's not in their best interest. So, you know, this thing went on and on, Dr. Haney. This started in March of 2006. And it went on, and I talked to Garrett Tulloch on the phone, who's the Director of Field Services, and we discussed the issue about the fines. So he came to me, he said, well, okay, can you make some adjustments in the fines? I said, I'll tell you what, whatever adjustments you make into the fines, I'm okay with it, because my main thing is to help these people. So he made the adjustments. I sent him back a letter of acceptance. He said, once you do that, then we'll reinstate your program. I sent the letter back. I'm okay with it, but because I maintain my position that, you know, the fine system is not detrimental, then I get a letter back probably about a month or so later that says, you know, well, we've determined to not use your program because some of the officers feel like you have a low success rate. Now, how could they make that statement, Dr. Haney, when you consider that not one parole officer, I'm not going to say that, one parole officer, Cheryl Pullen, came out to the house one time to check on an offender, and all the other times, years or so that I've been dealing with.
And they're supposed to come by periodically?
I mean, I would think they would come by and you know, make sure that the person is staying in the house they say they're staying in, or working at the job they say they're working in. But my thing was this, Dr. Haney. Listen, I called to try to open up a line of communication between my agency and the Department of Probation and Parole, but on every attempt, I was rejected. Betty also rejected me. Garrett Tulloch rejected me. I mean, because I said, let's sit down with the parole officers and myself. Let me present my ministry program to you all, and let us come up with a system whereas we can work together so we can adequately and properly supervise the ex-offenders so that they'll have a chance at living life. Because if you don't do that, man, they're not going to have a chance at living life. But I was rejected on every hand, and to tell me that you got a low success rate when you've never been to my ministry office, you've never been to one of my houses where the offenders stay, you never sit in on any of my groups, you never had a conversation with me, a decent conversation with me. So how could you make a statement like that?
What do they base that such a statement on?
On nothing, Dr. Haney. What can you? I mean, what can they base it on? You've never been there. I mean, you couldn't even tell me what they wouldn't even know how my office looked. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody's ever been there.
Well, this whole issue of fines, exactly what I mean. What are we talking about here? I mean, is there a amount associated with these fines?
Absolutely. Say for instance, my houses are non-smoking houses.
Okay.
So I say, as a deterrent to smoking in my house, then if you light up a cigarette in here, you're going to pay a $100 fine. Now, that's a great deterrent, because I'm not willing to pay $100 to smoke a cigarette. So chances are you're going to think about that. You're going to walk outside.
That's right.
See, the fines are not designed to be collected. The fines are designed to make sure you follow the guidelines. You know what I'm saying? I could care less about receiving a fine, you know, and they couldn't say it's about, you know, all you want is to make money off of these people. If that was the case, I would deal like a bunch of these other so-called halfway houses and charge them this large amount of money to come out, but we was bringing people out free at no cost. Well, we lost a lot of money doing that, of course, but still at the same time, we were trying to give people an opportunity, because people coming out of prison, they ain't got no money, man. You know what I'm saying? They don't have money, they don't have clothes, dropped off at the bus station with a shirt on in the middle of winter or whatever, you know, so it couldn't have been about the money, because it's not about finding people for money. But you think about it, Commissioner Little out there at the Tennessee Department of Correction, he's have 11